Another thing, last time I was saying that if Gavin Newsom was really attempting to push back against Trump, there are more stronger military moves he would be making, just to simplify it. And that's how we got to look at all of this. If we're not looking at it initially from a move of military, then we're missing the picture. I agree with most of what Dr. Claude Anderson was saying. He was saying the foundation of this is in economics. The foundation of this is in violence. These people seize this country. They have built this country. They have maintained control of this country, ultimately through violence. We have proven, we can grow economically. We have built up numerous communities, but ultimately they move to violence. That is what we're seeing with what Trump is doing right now, with putting the National Guard into various cities and flexing. He's showing his muscle. That when it comes down to it, no matter how right or wrong he is, how much people do or do not like him, he has control of the muscle, the violence, those who will carry out violence in this country. And if we're not looking at it first and foremost from that position, we can get out here and insanely generate as many funds as we choose, but when they hone in on you, if you haven't built a strong enough resistance to push back against that violence they exert against you or against us, one of the most regular forms of violence has continually been finding those amongst us who they can get to carry out violence against their own. And again, that is something that we have to educate. Fortunately, way more brothers than what we have seen they expect overstand that game and have not been falling for it in more recent times. And we found this from getting out here pushing against these liquor stores. A lot of these Asian merchants would try to get local gang members to go against us. And from Liquorland over there on Imperial and Vermont, we have 4 different hoods converging at that liquor store that ultimately climaxed in them saying, no, one of the Denver lanes took off on the motherfucking sheriff. The sheriffs were trying to press them to get us out of there. And one of the young brothers took off, fired on the motherfucking sheriff. He got arrested, got released later that day. But that is the beauty of when people stay on code, as opposed to what we're seeing with the COBC. They're in a much more comfortable position. They're getting access to all the things, but they are the weakest of us as they choose to sell out. Don't even remember where the hell I was going with that point. But saying all that again to say right now, we're asking those of you who have not filled out the form to tell the Black Caucus no, to not support these bills today. I'm not sure if they're voting on it today or if tomorrow will be the last day. We're asking for you to fill it out. Again, that's just a smaller way, and you all voicing your opposition to what the Black Caucus is trying to do, because the way they're presenting it to the assembly at large is that this is something that the black community supports. And they found, their Boule network, D9 network of supporters who have gone in there. We even seen Akila Weber, went into these committees and lied. Again, shows just how, when I say idiotic these people are, how idiotic they are, that they will lie to present something that is going to further wipe out the black community. I think it started with me making the point of Gavin Newsom responding militarily to what Trump is doing. And yesterday I saw a video on 2 urban girls where he is now look like deploying the California Highway Patrol. I don't know if it will also be state troopers, but basically saying he's going to flex some of his muscle. He said down in San Diego along the border, and he said in Los Angeles, but more so as flexing it in opposition to Trump and his deployment of National Guards, he stated he's taking the position to fight crime. And again, we know that's the crime, or what they criminalize amongst, black folks and others. And again, ignoring the element or the conditions that they've created. So, saying all that to say, why we need more of y'all to not just be on these devices. Because again, when the violence happens, we've seen when we have numbers to push back against the violence, we can force a standoff, or even them backing down, or when necessary, when it actually breaks out and we start to engage in that, we have enough to protect each other. But again, when the many sit home and they now watch us through these devices, get our asses kicked because we outnumbered, and then they can further press their agenda on us, we collectively lose. But if enough of you overcome this fear, or you really, all that you say when it comes to whooping another black person's ass, grow beyond this reactionary violence and get out here and hold the line with us to protect not just our communities, at this point, protect our existence. Because as we're pushed into a lack of access to wealth, or to generate wealth, it then forces a lot of people to prey on their own, which then results in them succumbing to retaliatory violence. Or if they are victorious in those violent engagements, they then are held accountable to the courts of so-called law, to the injustice system. So, we did observe that was something else that happened this week. Gavin Newsom is now deploying some of his muscle into our communities. But instead of the Democratic network hooping and hollering about that happening, they will then help to justify, crime is going up. We just had these shootings here in Los Angeles, Booty-Wop. Again, a result of them not making the right investments, not pushing no real reparations for us. We saw during COVID when everybody was getting them stimulus checks, more folks was caught up in, living their best life, as opposed to doing these things that we're now seeing happen through benign neglect. Hey, good morning, loved ones. See more of y'all has just joined. Really asking folks to fill out this form. Those of you who have not filled out this form, it takes less than 60 seconds, y'all.